What's going on, guys? As you can tell by the video title, today we're going to be doing the intake valves on the car, on the Speed. We're also going to be switching out the injectors because I need to switch them out. It's starting to clog up. And we're going to be doing half an EGR delete because I did not get the gasket in time and I want to get this done. So I'm just going to unplug the EGR, but I'll get to all that later in the video. But for now, let's go ahead and check out the parts that I have laying on the floor behind me, so you guys can get a more depth detail imaging, so you can see exactly what I'm going to be putting on the car. So let's get to it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Georgie's channel. In today's video, as you've seen in the title, we're going to be replacing the fuel injectors because my injector, one of them I believe, is clogged. So the car is running a little rough on idle, and then we're also going to be cleaning the intake valves with the walnut shell, and we also have Cork Sports intake manifold. So I'll be switching all that. So you can see I have Cork Sports intake manifold here. Got the new fuel injectors. Yes, I do have the fuel injector seals. They're right here. And these are the CPE ones. Now, since I'm doing the manifold, I'm also just going to swap over the new map sensor. And here is the EGR delete. So we're going to do everything in one video, and I'm just going to tag you guys along the install. This EGR delete, I might do half of it because the EGR gasket never showed up on time, and I'm trying to get the car ready for a cruise in December, and I have some other stuff that I'm going to be doing, like a giveaway, not a giveaway but like a raffle later in the future during that cruise. But I want the car running at 100%. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get started here, and hopefully you guys enjoy this little tag along. And if you guys have any questions, just comment down below, and most of the stuff I'm going to be using is going to be in the description below as well. Alright, so what we're doing now, we're going to remove that because that's going to be off. We're not going to use that. Also, the EGR does not get used on the intake manifold. If you're wondering what this is a boost line. But anyways, I'm going to start removing the battery in the intake so that we could start doing everything easier. You probably still have, most of you or some of you might have the stock top mount, so it's a little bit more cluttery. It's not as cluttery when you have a front mount and then one whole intake, in my opinion, so it's a little easier. So just FYI, once you go that route, if you do FMEC, it might make things a little easier for you guys. But let's go ahead and take that off, and then I'll take this off. Make sure you make sure you actually remove the battery or disconnect it. But in this case, we're gonna remove it because we need to take all the space out. So unplug your battery, take it out, make it easier for yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this because I've done it in past videos, but if you're not, there's 3 bolts on top. There's 1, 2, 3. And I made it easier for myself, so I just literally just put one on there, and that's it. And then just pop it out, and then you have so much free space. Alright, if you guys do get the instruction manual, you guys could follow it. But if you're a visual learner, you have this plug here. See if it focuses. So that plug has a tab that you push on each side. So as you push it, you pull it out, and when you're doing it on it, you basically just push the sides. Now I like to use this hook whenever I can't really get my finger in a certain spot, so I use this hook and it helps. So take this plug out. So I went ahead and just moved the intake out of the way, just so I could have access to this area. This pipe's going to be coming off, and I'll be replacing that portion with a cover that's from Diamond Motorsports. So I got the Diamond Motorsports EGR Delete. But like I said, I didn't get the gasket for this one because it's ideal to replace it, and I'm just gonna unplug it for now, and then later on I'll probably take it out and then put the block that goes right there. Alright, so once you unplug this and you pop that little bracket out of there, then you want to remove this. There's 4 bolts. So you have that bolt, this bolt, and then one up here, and they should all be 8mm, and this isn't going to be reused anyways, so the BTCS in general is going to be away from the car. We don't need it. So that's going to be removed. Unplug your connectors to your spark plugs, and then just start doing the rest from here. Let me go ahead and do some, let me advance myself and I'll get back to you guys. So I forgot to mention to remove this, so unplug this as well while you're at it. And as you can see, it has like a little tab there, so you kind of have to lift up on it a little bit. So that's it, just like that. This is why I love these little things. So yeah. Alright, so what I'm going to do now here is I'm going to remove the line here from the BOV, from the blow valve. Take that out. If you have a bypass valve, it should be the same process. There should be a hose somewhere on here. If you have the stock one, it should be the same process. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that off, and while I'm at it, I'm going to take these off the coupler for the front mount, so I could pop this out and then have access to the bolts for the throttle body. Alright guys, so we're going to remove these 2 vacuum hoses. There's the red one with the red collar, and then the blue one with the blue clip-on. So the blue clip-on, literally you put a little flathead on it, you move it out slightly, and then pull on it as you're doing it, and it'll pop it out. And if you're wondering on the red, with the red collar, literally it's like one of those push pulls. So you push down on it and pull. Very simple to do. So now we have the blue and red vacuum hoses off, and we're gonna move on to the throttle body. So if you were wondering, we're gonna have these 2 lines. Now these 2 lines are for there's coolant that flows through these lines. So be prepared to, once you remove these 2 lines, to have something underneath it. We have a tarp on the ground here, and then we have a pan underneath to try to catch whatever spills from those lines. And to remove the throttle body, you're gonna have 4 bolts. You have one right here, right behind the line, that one. Then you have the one right there. The camera can't focus on it, but you have this one right there. Let's see if it'll catch it. It's not catching it. But you have that one. And then after, you're gonna have 2 more. So the other 2 are gonna be right behind here. So one's right here on top, that one, and then literally one is underneath on the bottom. So let me see if I can squeeze the camera in there. So this hole's in the way, so you're gonna have, so we got the bottom, so let's see. Yeah, some of that. So you're gonna have that one right there, that bolt. So that's gonna be the other one that's on the bottom. So once you do all that, I'll go ahead and show you on the next step. And reminder to keep in mind, once you remove those two lines, once you remove this line and the other one, because it's going to be filled with coolant, and you are going to need some coolant to refill whatever spills, if you do happen to spill a lot.
Do it like...
Get it. Oh. What are you doing, boy?
Clean operation.
Oh, sweet. See, I could have just done the easier way and gotten it from here, but
we wanted to make it hard.
You wanted to make it hard on yourself?
We wanted to make it challenging.
Yeah. So right now we're in the middle of taking out the throttle body, and if you were wondering, there's a connector that sits right there. You see? There's this connector right here. So let me raise up the ISO here, or the shutter speed. But let me show you. So this is one of those sliding clips. So you slide this clip to the right, and then what I did is I used a flathead and I slid this to the right, and then put the flathead on this side and just gently started sliding it with the flathead, and then it popped out. So we're on our last bolt here. I'm gonna take the bolt out. So once you remove that bolt, remember that there's going to be gaskets right in between there. Tap right there? Yeah, right there. So you see that little tab right there? Those are your gaskets. So always, you want to make sure that you don't lose those or rip them. The new intake manifold actually comes with it, which I'm going to probably be using. But just FYI in the future, maybe you could reuse your gasket if you come across with issues with the new one. So I'm removing this pipe that's for the EGR. I suggest you guys purchase an adjustable wrench, that way you don't have to go looking for a 22mm open-ended wrench. These are perfect and I use these. Now this is an 8-inch in length adjustable wrench. I do have a 10 and a 12, but an 8-inch adjustable wrench is going to be perfect. I bought my set at Harbor Freight. So, if you guys are wondering, some tools in Harbor Freight do work, because I'm using one of them. This should be pretty much loose. And I'll go ahead and show you guys what I'm going to be plugging this with in a second here. First, I'm just removing this nut. And then after you do that, you're going to follow the line all the way to the back here. So that line goes all the way down here into that. And these should be 8mm nuts. So once you remove that, I'll go ahead and show you what to do next. Alrighty, so we went ahead and removed that line, that pipe that was there for the EGR. So now we have that portion opened up, and I have the EGR kit right here. This is from Diamond, as I mentioned earlier. Now go ahead and remove the gasket that comes off the pipe. Either it'll come off or it'll fall out, so be careful when you're removing that part when you're taking that part up. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on this one, and we're gonna put the screws back in it, and we're gonna use this material on the screws and then screw it in so we could cover any leaks. So let me go ahead and get this all set up and put in place. Alright, so I went ahead and put the little plate here that covers the hole from the pipe for the EGR, and then now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the fuel rail guard here, or fuel line guard. So you're gonna have this bolt right there. Then if you go down here, you're gonna have this bolt right there, and then you're gonna have that bolt that's right there, and then you're gonna have this bolt right here, and then the size that they're gonna be is gonna be a 10 mil for all 4 bolts. So let me go ahead and remove this rail. Alright, so that's out. Now let's focus back. Let's get our focus back on the intake manifold. There's a little tab here that you have to remove so that this pops out. Unfortunately, mine broke, but it is what it is. It still works. So anyways, we're gonna unplug this from that, and then you have right there, that screw is gonna come off, and that's gonna be an 8 mil. So that's gonna be an 8mm socket. So remove that stuff. We removed that bolt right there. Unfortunately, you have 2 more that you gotta take off on the bottom side. So I'm gonna try to squeeze in here. See if you guys can see it. You guys have that bolt right there to remove, which is the one that runs right down in here. Down here with the, just follow that wire harness. And then you're gonna have that bolt as well to remove, which is for the, it's the bracket for the dipstick. So you have those 3 bolts to remove after you take off that and you plug this. So let's go ahead and get the rest of it off. So for the intake removal, the intake manifold removal, you're gonna want to remove that bolt that's right behind this one and this bracket. Let me see if I could focus. So that one is gonna come out, that one's gonna come out, that one's gonna come out, that one, and then right underneath the blimp here, I call this a blimp, we're gonna have that bolt that sits right on top right there. See if I could, let me see the flathead. So that one right there, that bolt, that's gonna come out as well. And then you have one on the very bottom underneath the throttle body hole, that's down right there. So they're all gonna be a what size is that? 10. They're all gonna be a 10. So just remove those bolts. There's gonna be that hose right there that's gonna prevent you from removing it. So it's just a typical clamp. You compress the clamp, slide it out, and then slide that hose out, and that should allow this manifold to come out of the engine bay. So on the side, I'm gonna be cleaning the throttle body. So it's a little dirty. So I'll be back here in a second. Alrighty, so you want to go ahead and loosen the sensor up. Just loosen it slightly so you can release any pressure that's in the fuel rail. After you do that, we're going to remove this fuel line that clips onto the fuel rail. And the way you remove this one, it's just like the one on top. The only difference is that the actual little, I'm going to show you a little demonstration here. So there's a little slot right there. So that slot, what I used was this pick and then this one. So this pick, because it's from the bottom side, so you're gonna have to use a pick and then pry it up. And while you're prying it up on the pick, you want to kind of simply move this little tab on the side, lift it up a bit, hold it in place, and then as you have this one there, continue to pry it out and it'll pop out. It'll slide out. After you do that, you're going to see that bolt right there, that one right there. So you're not gonna take it out, you're just gonna loosen it up. So you loosen that bolt up. Make sure you don't drop it anywhere, just loosen it up. And then after you loosen that up, we're gonna remove this bolt and this bolt underneath. And if you're wondering, that one's gonna be an 8 and these should be a 10. And in case you guys were wondering, that nut, this little nut there, that skinny nut that you have to turn but not remove yet, or not remove, is a 27mm, but we used an open-ended adjustable wrench, which made everything easier. You won't be able to get it by hand, so that was inside there, and it's going to be very difficult to remove that. So what we ended up doing is we just literally pried it on the side. So we just put a little bit of tension here and just twisted either the flathead or a chisel on both sides, and afterwards it popped out. And the reason why it's very, very hard is because of the O-ring. It has so much tension inside there because it's creating such a blockage so that there's no leakage in any way. That has a lot of pressure inside, so it gets stuck in there, like sucked in, so to speak. So that's why it's very difficult to remove that. And we ended up loosening up that one bolt that I had mentioned, that bolt right there. And just to figure some more stuff out, we actually ended up loosening that bolt right there as well, behind right here. And then the main nut for the fuel line, this one right here, which I don't think it was necessary, but we did it anyway because we were having such a hard time with that.
Gas.
And then when you remove this, make sure you have something underneath it, because the fuel line, as we uncovered, obviously is going to be filled with fuel. So once you pop this sucker out, it's going to leak about maybe a pint or two of fuel. So have something underneath there and be very vigilant on that. Now when you get this portion off, now you're going to pull this out. This is going to be very difficult as well because it's the same process on the gaskets inside here. These have these gaskets in it's on the actual fuel injector, so they're inside the housing. So what happens is that it's going to have the same process, and when you pop it out, you'll eventually get it, but this is what occurs. They get stuck in there and you're having a very difficult time. So maybe having another person pull on one side and the other person pull on the other side, and pull as hard as you can, and be very careful because all that pulling, once you get it loose, you might smack your hand on something and scratch yourself. So just wanted to bring that to your attention on removing the fuel rail. Now, one may be stuck on the fuel rail, which may be easier to remove, and another may be stuck on the actual block. So what we did is we I bought this adapter that came with my kit. So this, can you see one? Go the other way. This part, see this groove, and is gonna pop right in there. And when you have it in there, literally just leave it like that and just smack this back. You don't have to hold this in or anything. Just leave it in there, smack it back, and it'll come out. So let me go ahead and demonstrate. I'll hold this. So like this one's right here stuck. Pop it in there. Literally smack this back. It takes a little bit of play, but it will work. So it will work and it'll pop it off for you. This tool literally will save you a lot of cussing and smacking yourself in the face. So here's one reason why I'm taking these out. As you can see, this one's completely caked with grime and dirt and residue. So the new ones do not look like this. The new ones are redone and flow tested and basically rebuilt, you could say. So this is going to come off, these are going to be replaced, so we have new injectors. I'm putting the new injector seals. Literally, if you're wondering, the OEM ones come with these terrible seals, these small ones, which will cause corrosion and whatnot and mishaps. So we're gonna replace them with these. These are from CPE. Now, if these fail on me, then they failed on me. But as long as I got new seals on here and these work, hopefully in the during the time they are being ran with the car. Anyway, so there's that. That's literally all you do. And these are new injectors, so I'm not, you know, replacing or doing anything with the old ones. So these are new, brand new injectors, and all I'm gonna do is just slide these on. We put the injectors back in. They seated in there nicely. We also cleaned the cylinder inside the injectors, and all I used was a little brush. I don't know what I did with it. So it's one of those little brushes, but a very thin one. I don't know what I did with it, but I used one of those type of brushes. It's like you could call it a pipe cleaner. And then I used alcohol. Oh, there it is. So I used this one inside because stick it in this hole. It was able to just fit right in and clean the inside of that cylinder where the injector sits. And I used alcohol and I cleaned it, and then we used Q-tips and sucked out whatever was in there. So we're gonna put the fuel rail on and then everything back on. Oh no, I snapped a bolt. Bro, I snapped a bolt. Oh, that sucks.